They called it a crusade, but nobody in Enugu City expected what would unfold that December, under the neon lights and hazy harmattan air, when Pastor Chuka Okonkwo returned from his 5-year missionary sabbatical in Ethiopia, carrying not just his Bible but a message that would set both the righteous and the restless on fire. The city had changed fast. Cars now prowled Ogui Road like restless spirits, karaoke bars echoed across new layouts, and even the old coal miners' children had swapped their fathers' pics for TikTok trends. But one thing remained unchanged: the people's hunger for something deeper, something bigger, something holy. And so, when flyers began to rain down from motorcycles and church vans, with bold red letters shouting the mighty move, 3 nights of divine fire, it became the talk of every mechanic shed, market stall, and student hostel from Zik Avenue to Transekolo. Chuka wasn't a flashy pastor, no embroidered robes or security convoys, but when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of distant mountains and ancestral prayers. There was something ancient in his tone, like he wasn't just preaching but channeling voices that predated microphones. The venue was the vast abandoned railway yard turned open field, a place many believed to be haunted by colonial ghosts, but Chuka said it was perfect because God is about to reroute the old tracks. The first night, people came out of curiosity, mothers with children wrapped in ankara, youths in skinny jeans, even secret cult boys in their coded regalia hiding behind dark shades, and when the worship team sang, it wasn't just music, it was thunder wrapped in melody. Chuka took the stage with a simple white shirt and bare feet, and said, "Before I preach, let me tell you a truth: this crusade is not for you to receive something, but to remember something." The crowd grew silent. He told them of a forgotten story from his boyhood in Saka, where his grandmother, Mama Adis, once saved an entire village from spiritual destruction by fasting for 30 days and challenging the chief priest of the river shrine in a public prayer battle. He spoke of how modernity had made them forget that power wasn't in oil money or Instagram likes, but in kneeling under mango trees and crying to a God who hears even in the silence. The message hit hard. People cried. Others fell to their knees. But one man in the crowd, Ebuka, a street boy turned internet fraudster, watched from the edge, chewing gum, skeptical but curious. He had come because his roommate mocked the crusade, and he wanted to laugh, but something about the way Chuka moved, how the lights flickered with each declaration, made him stay longer than he planned. By the second night, rumors had spread. Someone said a blind woman saw light, a crippled boy walked, and that a native doctor's shrine in Abakpa mysteriously caught fire the moment Chuka screamed Holy Ghost fire from the altar. This time, the crowd tripled. Street traders abandoned their tables. DJs turned off their speakers, and even the local politicians showed up in disguise. Chuka's sermon that night was titled "The Hidden Battles of Your Bloodline," and he told stories laced with Igbo proverbs, how the curses of our fathers linger not in the trees but in the silence we keep about our wounds. He said, "You are not free because you moved to the city, you are only free when you confront the altars that know your name." That night, Ebuka couldn't sleep. He kept dreaming of a woman in white who stood at the railway tracks whispering his name and pointing at the Bible beside his bed. He hadn't opened a Bible in 10 years. The next morning, he skipped his usual run to the cafe for his clients, and instead wandered to the venue in daylight, hoping to see Chuka. What he found was something stranger. Chuka was sitting with a group of children, telling them how angels once visited him in Onitsha during a riot and protected him using nothing but Psalm 91. Ebuka listened from a distance. Something was cracking in his chest, something old and hard. The final night came like a storm. The clouds rolled dark over Enugu, but not a single drop fell. The governor, under pressure from his wife who had seen a dream, offered free transport from all 17 LGAs. Even Agboros, the notorious tout of Holy Ghost Park, stood in line, clapping and singing. Chuka climbed the altar and looked around like a man seeing through people. "Tonight," he said, "we dig into the soil and uproot what your ancestors buried in silence." He prayed. He roared. He wept. He called names he shouldn't have known. "You, Nena from Oba, the sickness is not in your blood but in your mother's vow to. Amedioho, you, a funny in the green cap, God said your real name is not Ifani, it's Kamiramis, the one heaven sent to rewrite the story. Deliverance swept through the crowd like wildfire. People dropped charms. Some confessed to crimes. A woman in the crowd began to scream as if something ancient was leaving her lungs. Ibuka ran to the front, knelt at Chuka's feet, and confessed how he had stolen millions through scams, how he had abandoned his praying mother in Nui, how he didn't even know if God could still see him. Chuka didn't say much, he just placed his hand on his head and whispered, "It is not too late for any prodigal when the father is still watching the road." That night didn't end with an offering or a benediction. It ended with silence. No music. No lights. Just people standing still, like those who had seen the Red Sea part and couldn't explain it. The next morning, Enugu woke up differently. DJs played gospel remixers in clubs. Area boys turned street preachers. A newspaper headline read the crusade that broke the city's spell. Chuka didn't stay for interviews. He left quietly, leaving only a note pinned to the stage that read, "This was not a revival. This was a reminder." And true to his words, the affect didn't fade. Weeks later, new churches sprang up,